Hello and welcome to our third chapter, Chapter 3, Where Plants and Animals Live. This chapter is going to be all about ecosystems. So let's read the first part and find out what are ecosystems. Plants and animals meet their needs in the place where they live. Living things depend on other living things and non-living things around them. Places for living things. Each living thing needs a certain environment. A living thing's environment is everything that surrounds it. An environment has living parts and non-living parts. The living parts include plants, animals, and other living things. The non-living parts include the sun's rays, air, water, and soil. The sun's rays are necessary for life. They warm the air, water, and soil to the temperature that living things need. Sunlight helps plants make food. Climate shapes each environment. Climate is the weather in a place all year. For example, one place might have cold, wet winters and hot, dry summers. Another place might be cold and dry all year long. Water and soil are important parts of each environment. Water falls as rain and snow and enters the soil. Soils differ in the way they hold this water. Each type of plant needs a certain amount of water and a certain kind of soil. And here's our checkpoint question we'll talk about in class. Name 4 non-living things that are a part of a plant's or animal's environment. And I think if we look up here, we can see what we just read a moment ago. The non-living parts include the sun's rays, air, water, and soil. So those are the non-living parts of an ecosystem. Parts of an ecosystem. In an environment, living and non-living parts act on each other or interact. These interacting parts make up an ecosystem. The living parts of an ecosystem depend on non-living parts. For example, coastal redwood trees need sunlight, soil, and air. They also need a lot of water. There's plenty of rain in winter, but no rain falls in the summer. So, in the summer, the trees get water instead from fog that rolls in from the ocean. The living parts of an ecosystem also depend on one another. For example, some seabirds scoop up fish from the ocean. Then they fly inland to nest in the redwood trees. Special homes. The place where a living thing makes its home is its habitat. A habitat has all the things that a plant or animal needs to live. For example, a habitat can be a branch of a redwood tree in which a bird builds a nest. The habitat gives plants light, air, water, living space, and pollinators. It gives animals food, water, shelter, and living space. If any of these things is missing, something will change. The habitat might no longer be able to support some plants or animals. These plants or animals may struggle to survive, die, or try to move to a new habitat. And here are some interacting parts of an ecosystem. We have a living, such as plants, animals, and other living things, and non-living, light, heat, air, water, rocks, soil, and they all interact in the ecosystem. And on this page, we have a picture of those redwood trees. The plants, animals, and environment of this coastal ecosystem interact with each other. This coastal California redwood tree shares its environment with other plants and animals. Dune grass has tough roots. They help the plant survive in strong wind, bright sunlight, and shifting sand. And here's our checkpoint question. What is an ecosystem? I think if we look back up here, where we just read, we have our clue. In an environment, living and non-living parts act on each other or interact. These interacting parts make up an ecosystem. And then on the next page, we have groups within ecosystems. Coyotes roam the rough brush called chaparral on coastal hillsides in Southern California. All the living things of the same kind that live in the same place at the same time are a population. A group of coyotes make up a population. Coyotes hunt California ground squirrels. The ground squirrels eat plants and live in burrows within openings in the chaparral. All the populations that live together in the same place make up a community. The coyotes, ground squirrels, and chaparral plants help make up a community. The populations in a community depend on each other. And there's a coyote, and it says a coyote hunts ground squirrels. Ecosystems change. Ecosystems change over time. The change starts when one part of the ecosystem changes. This change causes other parts of the ecosystem to change. For example, in one winter, the chaparral might get more rain than usual. Plants grow more. Ground squirrels now have more food than usual. This may cause the population of ground squirrels to grow. The rise in the number of ground squirrels affects the coyotes. The population of coyotes can grow because coyotes find plenty of food. If a winter has less rain than usual, plants provide less food. Less food supports fewer ground squirrels. As a result, the population of coyotes remains small or decreases. And in this picture, it says all the coyotes in one place make up a population. Fires move quickly through chaparral. This provides space, water, and sunlight for new plants to grow. Coyotes and ground squirrels, May 2002. Okay, so here's an estimate of the populations. The coyotes in green and the ground squirrels, number of ground squirrels in red. And it looks like there's a whole lot of ground squirrels and not as many coyotes. And it says more food than usual supports a large ground squirrel population. There's a squirrel right there. Coyotes and ground squirrels, May 2005. Whoa, there's a big difference there. Now, a few years later, there's a lot more coyotes. If the ground squirrel population is large, the coyote population might become large too. And here's our checkpoint questions that we'll talk about in class. How do coyotes, ground squirrels, and plants interact in their environment? And what might happen to plants and animals if there is more rain than usual? And join us next time for part 2, which ecosystems have few trees. See you next time.